and last Monday, a week ago, we had UIL Realignment. The new alignments, the new districts were released from the UIL, and with those things, we've talked about how one of the things we really like about UIL Realignment is it is just a bunch of data that's given to you.
No question.
And you can splice it and dice it and make it into whatever you want. And there's just a lot to digest, which is fun for us. That's kind of what we like.
Yeah.
I like when you give me – I'm the guy that if you give me a box score, I'm happy. I'm the kid who is reading baseball box scores.
What can these numbers tell me?
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different so there's a lot of things to break down. And one of the things is we can take a look at the – First time in 69 episodes I've ever sneezed on the air.
Oh no!
We can look at the enrollment numbers. Okay, we can look at the enrollment numbers because to break down again what this means in 6A and 5A. So let's go through how realignment works for the first thing.
All right.
Every school in the UIL turns in an enrollment number, and then the UIL will go through and they will divide them by class. So if you are 2,149 kids and above, you are Class 6A. And then there's 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, 1A. Okay? And they divide them into districts from there. In 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A, they are pre-divided into divisions. There's 4A Division 1 and 4A Division 2. There's 16 districts in each one. 4A Division 1, 4A Division 2. In 6A and 5A, they are not pre-divided. And what happens is that the top 4 teams from each district make the playoffs. And then of those 4 teams, you then go, okay, those 2 are the 2 largest enrollment schools. They're going to the Division 1 bracket. And then the 2 smaller schools are going to the Division 2 bracket. Those 2 brackets don't interact. Okay? That's how that works.
Fair enough.
So as we take a look at UIL realignment and what it all means, one thing to keep an eye on is the enrollment numbers, because they can tell us what brackets places are going to go, or teams are going to go. So the first thing I noticed when I was diving through these things is that just because you're dropping down doesn't automatically mean you're Division 1. And just because you're moving up doesn't mean you're automatically Division 2. Because that would, in theory, make you the smallest team in the district. Go ahead.
The latter part is easier to understand. Like, I can buy that easier, but the going down and not automatically being D1, harder to grasp, so I'll let you dive into that.
So I'll give you a perfect example, okay? So let's take a look at teams that are dropping down. So Midlothian, okay? Midlothian is dropping from 6A down to 5A, and they're in the district with Mansfield Summit, Mansfield Lake Ridge, Waxahachie. They're the second smallest team in that district, okay? And
I assume this is just because the other teams got bigger.
Because you've got 4 teams, Summit, Lake Ridge, Waxahachie, and Mansfield Legacy, that are over 2,000 kids. Yeah. Plus Lancaster, who's 1,900, and Red Oak, who's 1,880.
Okay.
So the fact that Midlothian, they drop, they turn in a number of 1,824.
Wow. Right.
Their only Timberview is smaller than them.
Huh.
There's a few other cases of that where you've got small schools that are dropping. Now, down in the Houston area, Houston Milby's kind of an interesting situation. They're that same situation. But just because you're dropping doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be you're going to be dropping down, or you're going to be in Division 2. So the same thing goes where if you're moving up, that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be Division 2. McKinney, for example. McKinney's moving up from 5A to 6A, but they turn in 2743. That only makes them the 3rd biggest team in that, or 3rd smallest team in that district. So if Denton, Geyer, and Wiley both make the playoffs, then all of a sudden they're going to Division 1.
Yeah.
You're going from 5A to Division 1.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable stuff. Now there's a lot of instances where you are going to do it. For example, Lufkin's the smallest team in their district. They're definitely going to Division 2.
Right.
But that's just one thing to keep an eye on.
Okay.
Another thing to keep an eye on is that these new schools that we're going to have that are being introduced and starting to play football this year, they're already having a big effect. For example, there's a new school opening out in El Paso Pebble Hills. Okay, they are at 26-22. That makes them the 4th largest team in that district. No, I mean, I think that you think about you think about teams like that. You think about new schools and say, oh, well, they're going to be the smallest teams. That's not the case, especially there. So they could go Division I, they could go Division II, even though they are new, a new school. Another example, Denton Braswell. Denton Braswell is opening, and they're going to be the third smallest school in District 5. So they're almost certainly going to go to Division II.
Right.
But that could push a team like Wichita Falls Rider into Division 1.
Yeah.
Northwest Eaton. If you go out to here in the DFW area, out to the northwest part of the state or the Metroplex, you're going to find the Northwest Eaton. It's Hazlitt Eaton is opening a new school. They're already at 1964. They're almost a 6A team.
It's just crazy that these schools are launching with these kinds of enrollments right out of the gate.
Frisco Reedy, it's got 1832, and Frisco is that school district that always, whenever they get to a certain point, they just open another school.
We're gonna have 12.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're ever gonna keep track of all of them.
We're not. We're just simply not. So then there were two other things that struck me while we were doing it. And the big headline that I'm surprised there hasn't been a whole lot more written about it. Katy's going to Division I. That's
kind of a big deal.
That's locked and loaded.
Yeah.
It's happening, okay? Katy's the second biggest team in District 19.
Yeah.
Only Katy Morton Ranch is bigger than them.
Right.
So if they make the playoffs, they're going to Division I.
Yeah.
You know, that's been all the talk. Oh, we want to see Katy against Allen. Oh, we want to see Katy against Galena Park North Shore. Oh, we want to see Katy against the big boys. Well, you're going to get your chance now.
Here they come.
Katy's going to Division I. That's happening. There's no way around it. They are the second biggest school in that district. They are going to the Division I bracket. So there's that. And that's a big deal because when you think about, for example, think about Galena Park North Shore. Galena Park North Shore came out of Region 3. That's where they came from.
Right.
In Division I. They didn't have to go through Katy. Now you're going to have Katy going up against the big boys. That's kind of what we've wanted to see, which is, I think it's going to be great. I'm really excited about it. I want to see that. The other thing that caught my eye is that Aledo is definitely going to Division II. So this is Aledo has always been, in the past couple of years, has been a mystery because they were right in the middle. We didn't know if they were going to go to Division I or Division II. Well, they are the smallest school in District 6, okay? That's that Justin Northwest,
right.
which drops down from 6A. Northwest Eaton, Saginaw, Azle. They're definitely going to Division II, which bodes well for them because almost all of their championships, with the exception of their most recent one in 2014, all of them have been as a Division II school.
Right.
They've only won one Division I championship. The rest of them have come in Division II. Right. And that was a big talking point when that came out in 2014, that they were going to Division I. We're like, oh, wow, well, they've never won a D1 title. Mm-hmm. Well, they did that time, but this is an instance where, we've got an Aledo team that at 1594 is the smallest school in that district. They're definitely going to Division I, or Division II, rather,
right.
Which...
we've kind of gotten used to seeing him there.
We have.
But it's strange that they're not growing more.
Yeah, it is odd that but you think about the way that it's the way that it kind of sets up. That is probably that's probably a good thing because they're going for Aledo because they're going to duck Denton Ryan. Okay, right. in region 1, they're going to duck Denton Ryan. They're going to duck the Lubbock schools. They're ducking Amarillo. They're not going to have to play Colleyville Heritage.
Right.
Those big schools are definitely going to Division I. But there are going to be schools that they will have to go through. Wichita Falls Rider maybe on the horizon in Division I. I think in past years Division II has been a little tougher overall, but most of that have come from the other side of the bracket. Teams that they wouldn't play until a state championship.
Till the very end. Yeah.
Teams like Cedar Park.
Right.
But in this instance, there's no mystery about Aledo.
No.
We know that they're going to Division II, which that's one less thing we need to think about. So, what do you think of UIL realignment? Are there anything when you look at the enrollment numbers that really stick out to you? Let us know at #DCTFLive.